what I've done with the cuffs is I prepared fusing on a 1/2 cuff for right now. And one of the things I know Miss Davis teaches in Fashion 10 is she always makes her pieces longer than you need. And I think she does that for beginning sewing because, you know, for example, if you go to sew it together and you have too much, you can just trim it off, right, if it's too long. That isn't the way it's done in the industry. They make the measurements precise to the pattern. So you would, the way we're doing it here in class, if you end up with a collar that doesn't fit, that's because something went wrong in the sewing and the cutting, okay? Can be little tiny errors, but because you guys didn't learn that yet, it is a little more challenging right now. So I've already done one sleeve placket, and now I'm doing the other. So make sure that this slit is on the back of your sleeve, so you see the double notch. You're going to clip up to that point and then into the corners. And then this will come to the right side. Okay. So you're going to pull this out, and then this is smooth. Okay, so you're going to pull that until you have a nice smooth finish. Okay, now I'm ready to sew the placket part. I'm going to do it the small side first. Seam allowance toward the placket, fold it, and then fold it again. And so you're going to be stitching on the seam allowance, covering that first stitch. Okay, now some of you might have a longer placket. If you like the longer placket, just stay with it, you know, slash up higher. If you want the shorter placket, then just cut it off from the bottom and make the slit shorter. Okay, so this piece first. And then on the house part, you want to make sure that this stays to the outside so that you have it clean on the inside. So on the inside of the sleeve, you see how it's tucked into the front, so you don't see any raw edges there. A few threads. Okay. All right, now this part also, seam allowances folds in toward the placket. Fold this under 1/4, line it up. And I'm going to give myself a pin here to help out a little bit. And now go ahead again. You want to cover your stitch, but you don't want to stitch on the sleeve. You want to stay on the seam and the placket. So it's got to be very accurate. Keep this on the right side. And then as I get it toward the top, I'm going to fold this little house in. If you press it first, that's fine. I found that for me it's easier to fold it as I go. She can get away from me. under. And when you go across to finish out that house section, you want to make sure you're catching that little lip that was left behind. Okay, and then this last piece on the placket, just to make it to match the same on both sides, you just are going to stitch like so. Okay. If you're doing this blouse, there is a little bit of ease in the top. They're not gathers, so I am going to give myself an ease stitch at the very top of the cap, just to help it be a little bit easier to set it in. So maybe 1/4 of an inch away. And gather. Pull it like a gather, but you're not going to actually sew gathers. Just ease. Okay, so this one I've already done. I'm going to need to overlock this stitch before I can go to the next phase. I'm going to set this in, and then what I'll do is I'm going to overlock real quick. You can stay here to watch the cuff, or you can, you know, come and go. But yeah, so if I double notches the back, you want to make sure you've got the back with the back. Single notch with the front. Because anytime you cross a seam, you have to overlock or finish the seam before you go to the next seam. Pocket seam offs. And I always sew with the sleeve on top, not the body, and that makes it so that you can manipulate the ease a little bit better, shortening up the total length. And then I find where I'm going, where I'm finishing up, so that is the extent of the ease. And I'm going to do a quick overlock, and then I'm going to start the next video.